know.
First one right there. This was it.
So these two.
This was all.
But even if I'm from the county's already separate, so it's like, what are they doing?
Well, they changed the lot line a little bit.
Blood, before you run away tonight, I need to talk to you about. Blood, before you run away tonight, I need to talk to you about. On the clock, I will call the meeting to order. We have roll call, please.
Mayor Grant.
Here.
Hutton. Polach. Poppy.
Here.
Bosco.
Here.
Split.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, is there a motion?
A motion.
I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? As approved. Next item is approval of the minutes from the May 18th, 2022 meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll motion to approve minutes from May 18th, 2022.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor? Those are approved. All right, moving right into our public hearing. Time is now 7:02. I'll open the public hearing of Ripon zoning code, chapter 20.04 definitions, chapter 20.12 residence district 1, R1 single family, chapter district 2, R2 1 and 2 family, chapter 2020 residence district 3, R3 multiple family, chapter 52 exemptions and supplementary district regulations, Article 5 planned unit development, and chapter 52 exemptions and supplementary district regulations, Article 6 tourist rooming houses. Still 7:02 after reading all that. And the public hearing is open. Don't see anyone from the public here, but we'll give them a couple of minutes. We thoroughly went over those at the last meeting. Adam, there were a couple of minor changes from then till now, weren't there?
Yep, so there were these, there's a public documents that you see in front of you with the changes crossed out and underlined and everything were available for public view as well at City Hall. We did not have anybody register any public comment to me ahead of. From, like you said, we have been through this now, this will be the fourth time we've been through this, the third or fourth time. So you can see just since last meeting, the changes that occurred where the definition of boarding house on the second page here was changed to be a little bit less restrictive and more broad per se. So it used to say basically that it had to have meals, and this way it doesn't have to have meals, it's just a little more broad. And then beyond that, there weren't many other changes to anything. In definitions since the last we talked. R1 also didn't change, so the big things there are adding conversion duplexes and addressing some of the lot line issues that we've talked about in the past, as well as density, so instead of 30% going up to 40% lot coverage, changes going down from 2 spaces to 1. R2, the big thing there would be allowing in R2 District 3 or 4 unit dwellings, new construction via conditional use, as well as conversion duplexes and new duplexes as two-family dwellings, and then some other changes to the density. By family dwellings, 8 units or less are allowed as an allowable use. Multiple family dwellings over 8 units are a conditional use. So that was a change. Literally one number that changed the entire ordinance. Sorry for that, but the minimum size of a planned unit development would move from a 5-acre to a 2-acre. And then finally, tourist rooming homes or houses, this would be your classified Airbnbs licensed with DAT cap or Fond du Lac County. And then the maximum days of operation, tourist rooming houses rented for a total of 180 days or less within a 365-day period. 181 days or more, if I'm right, Ted, you always hit me on that one. 181 days or more would be required in a 365-day period, shall be required a license and a some standards of where it's allowed, so R1, R2, R3, B1, B2, B3, those types of facilities would be allowed. There would be no sale of alcohol. And then there's about that last time that they have to have an accounting of all housing, tourist rooming housing transactions for the purpose of confirming room tax payments. All transactions shall be kept on file for the license period, and they shall be and available for whenever. So we know that people are collecting room tax, because as we stated at the last meeting, we sort of, through a third party agency, get a check, and we have no idea. So that is the kind of the summary. Obviously, we've been through it a few different times, so we've tried to accommodate and include every change that has been recommended through that process.
I need a clarification on one thing.
Mhm.
So we have these going up in another community. Multifamily, because now anything over 3 units has to be sprinkled per the commercial code. So what the state has come up with, you can have a duplex. It's a two-family duplex with a 5-inch airspace, another duplex, 5 inches airspace, another duplex. They're combustible material that goes up the side, over the roof, and then the only thing that can connect is the shingles and the siding. How are we gonna classify them? Are we gonna classify them as a duplex? Because when they're set at.
Zero lot line?
Correct.
So
So
is
do
a
we
zero,
do it as the conditional use then?
in R2, a 0 side yard setback is allowed via conditional use for two-family
Zero
lot
lot
line.
line.
Yep, it'd be a 0 lot line.
Imaginary lot line.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to clarify that, so when it does come up, but when it's done, it will look like an apartment building. Tell you it's But it's one way that they can get away from the sprinkler code.
It's always a way around it, right?
It's working out, 2-story, it's not allowed, you just can't make it work.
All right, time is now 7:09. I will close commission.
I'd make a motion, we approve.
And send to council.
Send to council.
And yes.
Send to council.
I'll second that.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the changes and recommending to council, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
So we may hold off on it till July just because of, so we'll forward it on.
Calendaring items, yeah.
It's just, this is a big item,
Yeah.
so.
All right, next next item is a certified survey map from the Jared Corporation for 1188/1200 West Fond du Lac Street. Would you like the project for us?
Exactly. I can do that.
That's right, you're part of
Yes, I am. The survey was basically, the exterior of the boundary actually stayed. It was done back in 1987, which yours truly drew. And when I lived in Waukesha, matter of fact, we came up here and did that exact boundary. So, exactly what the plan is for, that's where the old Kmart building is going to be. And a few of the other shops that are in there, I don't know what the plan is. I do know that I haven't been privy to any of that information. So with that being said, I did the exterior. I also added the river. All the notes that I could possibly come up with also with regard to the easements that were on the property directly, and also the third sheet, I believe I had what the structures, what the buildings look like, and where they are in relation to the setbacks that were currently put on that sheet as well. And it's all, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And did the center line change at all?
A little bit, yes. If you can look at the first sheet where it says lot 1 of 1207 line shown. I don't know if anybody can see that, maybe they can't see it.
I had a brief conversation with Attorney Sorensen, who could not address easements to the property, which are not shown on this survey. I understand that historically it was in a leasehold scenario,
Yes.
by how Lot 1 is going to exit.
I believe they are currently drafting those those descriptions for the access.
Okay, and I think it's absolutely important, given the circumstances of that property
Okay.
and the particular uses. I think one of them even involves bringing trucks in backside of Webster. Yeah, and that's,
Is that something you conveyed to Attorney Sorensen?
I did. We kind of talked back and forth, and I saw that you had a separate easement sheet, and I said, well, there's a separate easement sheet, and he called me back and said, but I don't see on the survey where those easements established.
So by doing that, would that change the process by which we can get this to happen?
No, it just,
Speed.
obviously, the surveyor just needs, so you can make the motion.
Will it have to come back
Subject to.
before the plan commission?
Director for final review, city administrator for final sign. So it's just a matter of Don being able to get her done.
Yes.
But I just think, given the circumstances regarding cross leases or cross easements
Yeah, that was
that are not
that was our
on
biggest concern.
this survey. Yeah.
One is when I was approached to buy it, the buyer they had. And so I said, well, I mean, I'm not gonna buy this, and the reason that the front line changed is basically whoever would own the other cost cutters, and our intent is to be the landlord for that property, which would be a Webster family, or
And that's the way this is drawn. Now-
it was, that's why I
Okay.
moved to the west.
Got it.
So that was a change, is putting Century 21 and cost cutters onto the Webster's property versus the Kmart property.
No, the buildings were always, the parking was on the west property.
Oh.
It's really light on the plan here.
Oh, yeah.
It's-
Yep.
It's dotted.
So we wanted to make sure that if I'm gonna be a landlord, I wanna be a good landlord.
They gotta have
Plus
someplace
your
to park.
driveway,
Yeah, you guys gotta have a place to
Yeah.
park.
Well, we-
your driveway, if you exit, you 23.
Right.
Well, the
Right.
place, it was all designed to be one property, one a marriage of properties, similar, so we just gotta get those cross easements, get
Yep.
that all, get
Yep.
those drive
I
lanes.
know. Your building with.
And the back is just as important
Yeah,
as the front.
that's front, yeah.
Yeah.
And across the front of the building is important, because somebody wanted to park a bunch of trucks along the front of the building, because if you look at aerial photographs of it, people, when they exit Webster's, half of them will go out maybe one of the lanes and turn, the other half go all the way to the other end to Kmart and turn
Yeah.
up
Go to
the
the center.
double designed the way it is. People like it, it flows nice, we can separate our employee parking with that drive lane and keep our employees out there and keep the stuff toward.
Was Attorney Sorensen, want to keep it moving like
Well,
Bobby said.
yeah, I know that,
Yeah.
and I just thought, well, maybe they'd want to know why that line changed and who the potential buyer is.
Drawn?
They were gonna be drawn up by the attorneys, and I haven't gotten them yet. So I was asked not to put them on there, so they'll go on there.
Thank you.
Once you get them.
Once I,
Absolute sense,
Well, that's
given
fine, yeah.
the scenario and given some of the traffic flow
One
in that
question I
area.
have on the lot line is at the back of the store, just jog out to the east, I guess, right up to the loading dock door of Webster's.
No, that's the loading dock, yeah. That was to protect the loading dock area of that Kmart parcel,
Okay.
because that's where their loading dock was. And they, the Kmart portion was built before the rest of before us by about a year. And they always maintained ownership of that, and that's something that they want to just protect our trucks or make it inaccessible. It could be a common area, just like these other common areas are gonna be where the stuff is. That's the intent, is to just keep it bare, ingress, egress out in front of the building.
All right. Any further questions?
You know, first before you send original.
yes, absolutely, I can do that.
Just a question on the east entrance, is that public, or is that clear, that's the easement that you want written for the Kmart building? So they can use that also, if they say that, I don't know what it's gonna become, but maybe a semi's gotta get in there.
So I think
Which side are you
The
on?
east side,
East side.
So
is
you're
that,
asking if
so
the
you're
east-
writing easements for,
The west,
It's
Entrance.
west one.
The west side,
the west
not the
end.
east side.
It'll be written.
People,
There would
people
be-
treat that like a street. And that's kind of what we need
Yeah.
this to
We
be
wanna
clear.
we wanna maintain that perception of
Yeah.
this is a street, this is
Right,
an
there-
entrance.
There would be
Not a
movement on
street,
both
but-
parts.
Good question.
good answer.
If there are no further questions, would anyone like to make the motion to approve this pending?
I'll motion.
Make that motion?
And I'll second that.
All right. Got that, Adam?
Sure.
Okay.
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom.
Lutheran Church at 320 Mount Zion Drive. Looks like this one they're parceling off Lot 2.
Yeah, that's the grass area, and they do intend.
It's a big lot to put a house on.
Yeah, it is big.
That's a very big lot.
120 by,
Actually, someone could divide that later if they would want to.
yeah,
But then it was a smaller corner lot, which would be hard to build on a
Yeah, because you got.
corner lot that big. Whatever.
Not with the new regulations.
Lot the same.
Yeah, they had called and asked me about it, what the minimum requirements were, so.
so I see there's a driveway across the back end of Lot 2. Is that an easement? Or
It wouldn't be necessary because they had three entrances, it looks like. 2 driveway entrances and 1 walkway entrance on Mount Zion.
Mr. Chiropractor office.
On the other
Yeah.
side
Yeah,
of the
there
parking
is
lot.
a-
On that back side.
So saying, yeah, there's a office there. Mhm.
Okay. Any questions? No? Anyone want to make a motion to approve this one? Thank you. Further discussion? None? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That one is approved.
Thank you.
All right, next item is a site plan review for Ripon College. adding-
Slow down, Ted. Gotta-
Review of Ripon College behind Rodman Center for additional parking for Wilmore. Does this bring any concerns to you?
No landscape.
Talking at one point about eliminating the landscaping rule. Besides the landscaping plan, no concerns?
I don't have any.
MSA did review it and did not highlight any concerns as well.
Plenty of drainage and...
Yep, they had submitted a far more comprehensive plan than what we submitted here, so.
Dable Engineering, I need to call them and tell them that they gotta,
Okay, so any motion to move this forward is subject to.
this contingent.
And is that something you're gonna be able to review, or you need to bring it in?
No, I can review it, building them.
Yeah, it's just all imperfect.
Questions or motions?
Regular parking right now, right? Congress Street or go through the parking area now? Is that what, people on Congress Street, did they get any notice that there might be more traffic or?
No, that's not a requirement of
Okay,
that.
all right.
So.
Okay.
I
And they don't
think
need to be,
They had parking all back there.
okay.
And then they put the
Then they
Wilmore,
put the- yeah.
and they eliminated all their parking back there.
Right.
So, you know, from the standpoint of, I don't know how big that lot was, but it was a pretty big lot. Point on campus and other areas where there's a need.
Sure,
for additional
yeah.
Yeah,
parking.
if you ever went to a basketball game,
Yeah.
trying to find a parking spot, then the
Yep.
people were parked down the road, so.
Mhm.
Like when they built.
Did they give it, they might have said it, but did they give,
Already,
okay,
so,
so it'll be done
They gotta get
probably
erosion
this year?
control plan
yeah,
right away.
I think we had to talk to them.
Gardner Washington, they got erosion control. He complained he had to come give me some more money.
Yeah, 'cause I was gonna say, I drove past it once we got all the information, and I saw that there was already kind of a gravel
Yeah, they.
area there. I was like, okay,
It's gravel.
maybe that's not really supposed to be used.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve pending landscaping?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Project updates and staff reports. Have you got anything? Okay. Adam?
No, nothing. We'll probably have a meeting next month. We'll probably try to get it back on a normal schedule, but there may be a conditional use permit that comes through.
likely the third Wednesday.
I think so, we can, depending on when you all wanna meet. So,
Okay. Anything else, Adam?
no,
All right, motion to adjourn, anyone?
Motion to adjourn.
Second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 7:30.
Yeah, 4 items in less than half an hour.
Nice.